Okay.
Happy day, everyone. Thank you very much for being here with us on our final day of our NDE series. My name is Omar, coming at you guys from West Coast, British Columbia, Canada, with my lovely co-host and co-creator, Kathy Mason. Kathy, wow, what an incredible week it's been so far, eh? I've loved it.
I have to do this again. Because honestly, there's so many cool people, so many cool stories, and so many new ways to look at the expansiveness of who we really are. Each speaker has a nugget, a gift for all of us.
That's right. It's like a little puzzle piece that everyone has, and put that together, and then the picture becomes more clearer and clearer as to what we are interacting with, and what we are, as a as a being, not this human container being, right? Because this is just like a vehicle, a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or something that we're driving, right? But beyond that, it really addresses that question. And that's really what my my interest is when it comes to the NDE, is to understand that level of consciousness, because I believe that the human being is like like a radio station, where we can tune from frequency to frequency to frequency, and then we can experience those levels of consciousness while we are here. But on top of that, I'm wondering about the prime reality and the copy of prime reality, whether, which one are we in, right? So that's a really confusing question, which I've been trying to explore for a long time. And this NDE is such a great instrument for me to really understand and that aspect or that perspective of my quest.
Right. Well, what you're saying is, which is the dream, and maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe.
Yeah.
See, that's the other thing, is when you start looking at everything from such an expanded view, we take ourselves so seriously. I mean, it really is a cosmic comedy here.
Yeah. I've often said, Kathy, that the farmer that mowed the field 200 years ago, does it really matter what he did? Here we are, in the present. The past doesn't matter, the future doesn't matter. Just be magnetized to the moment, because that's what it's really all about. It's what we do. It's not. It doesn't matter what somebody else did or what someone. That was me, Kathy. I punched my mic here. That was spirit talking to me, saying, "Hey, don't forget about me. I did do something 200 years ago."
Cut it out. Well,
yeah.
I think what I'm hoping is that people understand that this consciousness array of reality is available for everyone. It's not, you don't have to have a near-death experience. You don't necessarily have to get to these states through drugs. But this mystical connection that they're proving you don't have to go through religion to get there, or listen to somebody who's an expert. You're the expert, and you have a pathway. And that's the part, I'm getting chills. That's the part I love about it.
Yeah. Shamans back in the day used to be able to take people on a journey to where they could experience the something similar to the NDE, but without experiencing the trauma and the death aspect of the whole thing. So I find that really interesting as well. But natural drugs do help sometimes.
So okay, I'm not going there. Well, the thing is that back then, when they were doing journeys, and they had the shaman, that was understood that you would connect and expand. Mm-hmm. But in our environment, a lot of the near-death experiencers, they haven't told their story for 30 years for shame, or afraid that people would lock them up or put them on drugs. So that's the thing you have to understand, is that this is in our Western culture, this is not very easily understood, and it's not accepted. It's starting to be now, thank goodness.
Shit, Kathy, you're giving me like goosebumps like everywhere, because I remember, where we had this conversation yesterday, and you were saying that since the 80s, they've been resuscitating people and bringing them back. And you were mentioning that Peter Grove had mentioned that. Yeah, Peter Panagore, that 10% of the world's population could have had an NDE experience. And if we look at the population of 8 billion just currently, that's like 800 million people across the world that would have had an NDE experience. And they're walking around activated, like, we've seen like most NDE experiencers, but they're just not aware of it. So, I can just imagine the potential of that if they all become aware, like at the same time, like say like a solar flash, right? Like boom, and suddenly they're activated. Oh my God, the change on this planet would be just immense and incredible.
Yay,
yeah.
That's what we're doing here. Why do you think we stood in line to get these bodies to be here right now?
Yeah, true that.
Yeah, well, I mean, something's got to wake people up. I mean, something's going to do it. But if you have enough, it's a tipping point, the 100th monkey.
Yeah.
If you have enough people that are connected to their mystical self, and then the frequency of everything changes. David Hawkins said that one conscious person could affect 100,000 people.
Yeah, that's so cool. While you were saying that, David Icke came to mind, and waking people up. There's the waking prophet right there. The guy that was underestimated and laughed at, and then here he is today. Every time he opens his mouth, people are like lining up to listen, right? So there's that, one that wakes up millions, right? David Icke. Oh my God, he's a legend. Anyways, a big shout out to deciphering.tv for hanging out with us all week this week doing this NDE series. And a big shout out to our friend Sugar Bee, the best moderator in the world. Thank you very much, Sugar Bee. Your service is greatly appreciated and received with love. Hello to Rob Yox, our buddy from Full Spectrum Universe. Denise Bertucci hanging out with us all week long. Nice to see you here, Denise. Rockers also been hanging out with us. Nice to see you, Rockers. Jay Zen, nice to have you. Wonderful to have everyone here today. So, Kathy, we have had a busy week, and let's bring up some of our speakers that we've done this week, because they're all going to be with us tomorrow. So I'm really excited about that. So let's set her off.
Okay, so first person is Tricia Barker, who's now Tricia Barker Barton, then Dr. Pamela Gerali, then Peter Panagore.
Oh, what's going on? I'm slow on the go here.
Then Jose Hernandez, Brooke Grove. And today we get to talk to Caroline. Now she made me do it wrong. Okay, Caroline Chang.
And then, of course, the panel tomorrow, guys. So let's bring Caroline on, and I'll just quickly do her bio so you guys know who we are speaking with. So Caroline Chang has been producing and hosting Awake to Oneness Radio for over 7 years. She launched her podcast 6 months after the transition of her only son, Kyle. Caroline is also the founder of the Kyle Foundation, Keep Your Light Expanding, and co-founder of Universal Oneness Alliance. Caroline is an inspirational speaker, author, and grief mentor to many who have loved ones in spirit. Caroline has given many talks, presentations, and been a guest speaker at many in-person and online conferences, podcasts, and spiritual centers. Caroline has written a chapter in the award-winning book, We Touched Heaven, a collection of experiences that reach beyond the veil. She is also in the process of writing her book, a touching true story of the mother's triumph from the devastating transition of her only son, and sharing her journey to awakening to the truth of who we are as sovereign divine beings of light. Her book is filled with inspiration and encouragement of how we how she overcame life's challenges, as well as sharing spiritual lessons she has learned on her journey. Welcome, Caroline. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you for giving us your time and sharing your journey and your wisdom with us so that we can all be enlightened and raise our own awareness as we move through this journey that we call physical life.
Thank you so much, Omar, for having me, and Kathy. I love Kathy. We've been in touch. I've been on her show, and I think, Kathy, you've been on my show, right? I have. Okay. Well, we got to fix that then.
Okay. And now you got Omar too.
Yes, and Omar. Yes, you both. But both must be guests on Awake to Oneness Radio. Definitely. Thank you so much for having me. I was listening to you guys chatter, and one of the things, Omar, I just wanted to say, because you had said it before we started recording, you had said you are all that is, and you're everything. So you are the dream and the dreamer. There's no need to wonder which is which. You are the dream, and you're the one having the dream. And everything you're experiencing, you are creating. You are in control. My favorite quote is a Rumi quote. It's, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop. The universe is holographic. Just like if a tiny microscopic cell of our body, someone knows how to clone, they can take a microscopic cell from my body and clone another identical me, because all of me is in that cell. And each one of us is cells of God, and not just a piece of God, but all of God is in that drop. So it doesn't matter, like Kathy was saying, this is a dream. We know this. So this is now the 3D matrix, where we have this vehicle and that's all it is a vehicle to get around in this 3D matrix. But this 3D matrix is at a very low frequency. That's why we're experiencing all the craziness in this 3D matrix. But you can be physically here in your physical, in your car. I like a Ferrari. What do you just say? What is a top-notch car?
The Ferrari.
So I'm here in my Ferrari, right? But I can be here in my Ferrari, but I can be up here. Okay, meaning I am not spiritually, I have not been in the 3D dimension since March 2020. I'm done with 3D, okay? And I stopped watching news in September of 2021. I have not watched mainstream news, in over 20 years. And I've been saying that since I started my show. So people know she's not lying. She don't watch news. And that was a direct instruction from my higher self right after 9/11. And I didn't know why, but I was obedient. My higher self said, turn off that news and don't ever turn it back on. And I literally said, why? And didn't get an answer. Didn't get an answer for 11 years. But I walked over to that television set, turned off the news, and have not watched a second of news since I turned it off. But I know, and people's like, well, how do you know what's going on in the world if you don't watch news? I'm like, I know what's going on in the world because I don't watch the news. Okay. So I found out in 2012, after watching several documentaries about 9/11, what actually happened that day. And I got it. I see why my higher self said, turn it off, because none of it is true. And not only is it not true, it's intended to lower your frequency. I learned when I had my awakening in 07, when I watched What the Bleep. And that was quantum physics awoken, was my key to my awakening. Everybody awakens different. Yeah, it was quantum physics. And I understand quantum physics from a layman's term. I always speak about quantum physics in all my talks. But once I understood that we are in, everything is energy. And it's all about frequency and vibration. And the mainstream news deliberately, it's not new, this has been going on for eons, deliberately tries to lower your frequency. Matter of fact, I studied journalism, and the first thing they teach you is if it bleeds, it leads. I mean, the horrible the story is, that's what leads. And what does that do? That lowers everybody's frequency. And people are watching that at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night before they go to bed. Lowering, it's deliberate to lower your frequency and keep you in a state of fear. Because when you're in a state of fear, you give away your sovereignty. You are a sovereign, divine being of light, always. You are God. Each and every one of us is God, and we are sovereign, and nobody can take away our power. But we give it away when we're in a state of fear, and they know it. So they keep us in that. They want to keep us deliberately in that state of fear. I cut them off over 20 years ago.
Me too.
If anything I want to know and learn, I have a computer. And now I don't check anything on Google. I go to DuckDuckGo. Okay.
There you go.
I remember my daughter saying something to me, because I haven't watched TV for at least that long, if not more. I mean, I watch videos, I watch movies and YouTube, but so I'm probably still getting a little bit. But she said, "You get your news on Facebook," and I said, I guess I do.
I was more of a YouTube person, like back then, especially like now everything is being censored. But before things were being heavily censored, you can find a lot of good stuff, a lot of good documentaries on YouTube. So, yes.
I'm the same way. I haven't really had access to the TV since I would say 2008, 2005 or so, because the kids, right? The kids are always on the TV and watching cartoons and kind of what have you. So I got relegated to the back of the computer, and then I went on YouTube, and then that's where I was really getting all of my information from, and the non-conventional, right? I'm not really into the mainstream, but I still watch the. I don't watch them, but I read their articles because I really don't want to watch them. But I want to know what they're doing, right? So that I can connect dots and then counter what they're doing with my own research. And, the thing that they're betting on, Caroline, is that, they know and understand that we don't know that only 6 people own all of the media in the world, and that those 6 people are puppets of something else that's not of this earth, and they're following these orders to keep us in that low vibrational distortion, because they're feeding off of our energy. Because every time we go into fear, they're like right there feeding off us.
Our fear is their food.
That's right. Their rear us.
Fear is how we give our power to them. So
their rear us like. We rear chickens for food, and that's what we are to them. They're extremely malevolent, right? They don't. They see us like bugs, right? Mosquitoes. It's exactly. They don't put too much, credit into us, and that's really that's a recent phenomenon too that we've been dealing with. It hasn't always been like that. It just only happened in the last several thousand years, and then now it's coming to its peak, and seems like it's crumbling too, because this whole pandemic thing that they did was, one, it was not very creative. It wasn't very sneaky either. And it was like in your face kind of deal, and they lost all credibility with people across the world. People have no trust in the healthcare system. They have no trust in the financial system or in the government. So they really shot themselves in the foot. And this really goes back to the age-old lessons that we've been learning, that these things that are controlling us and trying to put us in this, perception that they have no, ability of creativeness, or to be able to draw something or to have an original thought. They always have to go back to what's already in the pool, and they need to come out with things from that. It's kind of like being stuck in an identity to where, philosophically or even intellectually, you're tied into that philosophy or that mindset, and you can't think outside of it. So you're stuck in it, And
Right.
that's kind of what it seems like that we're dealing with. And we're beginning to understand that now. So we know how to, counter offense them, so to say, right? We don't
Yes.
need guns and bullets. We just need
No.
our spiritual energy, our thoughts, our heart space, and our
High
love.
vibration. That's
Exactly.
high
Yeah.
vibration. Our mindset is the prison that we are creating for ourselves. But I've been saying this the past 2.5 years. What they did in March 2020 is humanity's greatest blessing.
It was a
It's
gift.
our greatest blessing, because we would still be like, the masses are waking up. It's a great awakening because of what they did, and I thank them. I even have a song on my channel thanking the cabal, because what they did is they're the catalyst for humanity's great awakening. A guest said this to me on my show. You have a pot of water, and you want to you want that water to transfer to go to a higher level, to steam. How does water become steam?
You have to boil it.
Boil. That we're there. We're at the boiling point. The humanity's awakening is happening because of all the madness that they have done starting March 2020. And it's the greatest blessing for humanity, because everybody would still be in a comatose sleep. But nobody watches CNN anymore. Nobody watches. I'm not just making this up. You look at the ratings. Their ratings are in the toilet.
Yeah. They tried to launch.
Anymore.
Yeah, what was it? They tried to launch like CNN Prime or something like that, and only like 5,000 people subscribed to it, and they had to cancel it because.
Honestly, I looked at the last ratings of a few months ago. They have less than 1 million people watching CNN. Less, and there's more people. Millions, like tens of millions of people watching. Even Joe Rogan, who I'm not crazy about, but he's got 11 million people watching him, while CNN got like less than 1 million.
Yeah, exactly.
And they lose viewers every single day, because people are like, you're lying. I'm tired of it. Click. We have the power to turn them off.
I'd only wished when that happened, then people were waking up, that everyone across all of Canada and all of the United States had stopped paying their rent and their mortgages. I'd really wish that people had stopped doing that, because the minute they would have stopped paying their rent and mortgages, the entire financial system would have just collapsed, because it's all based on credit and debt and everything. And then it would have been beyond their control to really do anything, because what would have they have done? Evicted millions of people out of their homes, forfeited millions of homes. People wouldn't have, they would have said, no, that's not happening. This is my house. And that's that. But, people don't, one thing that people are not aware of, Caroline, that perhaps I can shed a light on, is that the mortgage is actually a criminal extortion, right? The reason why I say
taxes.
Yes. And the reason why I say it's a criminal extortion is because when you go in to sign for your mortgage, right, normally you use a blue pen. A blue pen is an identifier of the original contract. So when you sign your mortgage or your contract with the bank for that loan that they say that they're going to buy the house, and then you owe them money until it's all paid off, what they actually do afterwards is that they sell that instrument to a third party. So they actually no longer own the home, right? They have no contracts to it. It's the third party that owns it. So when they come after you and say, well, you owe us $1,200 this month for this amount of mortgage, that's actually criminal, because they don't own what they're asking you to pay them for, because that money is not going to the third party. The third party is hanging on to it so that they can trade on it later on. So the entire system is it's all criminal. So maybe if people had realized that back in the day and they said, okay, well, I'm not going to pay my mortgage, I'm not going to pay my rent, because the only thing that it seemed that the governments were trying to protect were the banks. Everybody was going out of business, everybody was being sent home, everybody was losing their jobs. So one thing was first and foremost for the governments across the world, here, we'll give you all this money every single month so that you can continue to pay your rent, so that you can continue to pay your mortgage. So it was in support of the banks to support that financial system that they're holding up. And that's what the whole trickery was. And then now, they're panicking because they're saying, oh, well, you put all this money into the system. So inflation has gone through the roof, and that's another consequence of their actions, because now, we're just on a different trajectory, on a different timeline to where this whole mess is going to collapse. And I sure hope that it does.
If anybody really does their homework, they're going to find out the Federal Reserve, the CIA, all of it is all criminal organizations, literally.
Yeah, it's organized crime.
The CIA even works with the mob. They started out in a partnership with the mob. So I do my homework. Matter of fact, I just posted on Facebook just today about, everybody says Hitler. He said, but Hitler wasn't a saint, but Hitler was just a puppet and their fall guy.
He was a Rothschild as well.
Well, if it wasn't for Prescott Bush, Henry Ford, IBM, and Big Pharma here in America, there never would have been a Nazi Germany. American business funded Nazi Germany. All the atrocities that happened in Germany in the 30s and 40s was because of American businessmen. Hitler didn't have a dime. They looked for a puppet that they could prop up to be the fall guy, and they found, the perfect one, Hitler. He's a great puppet. Okay, they made him the puppet, but it was Prescott. But and then look at what happened with Prescott Bush's family. His son and his grandson became president of the United States. And I said to people, do you know that it was Prescott? If it wasn't for Prescott Bush, there would never be a Nazi Germany. Okay, and look, his son and his grandson were president of the United States. This is all one big scam and criminal scam at that. All of it.
And that's exactly what's happening today with Putin and Zelensky. Those are the two. Biden. Yeah, and Biden. They're all three of them are on the stage.
Yes.
And that's where the point of attention is for everyone right now. But it really makes me wonder too, right? The depravity of these people, that they took us, first of all, through this pandemic, and then how do you lift attention from such fear-based propaganda of like couple years, then start a war over here, and then as soon as they started the war, we don't hear about the pandemic anymore, we don't hear about the vaccinations anymore. Now it's just war, and then now it makes me wonder, how are they going to lift the attention off of the war? And we can clearly see what they're doing for this winter. They're saying, oh, well, this winter is going to be really cold, we're going to freeze people out, right? So it's people.
From what I heard, and I think this was from David Icke recently, the other day, he was
I love that guy.
Yeah, he was.
I've read every book of his.
Yeah, he was live on London Real just this past Monday.
Yeah, I saw that.
What he says is what they're going to do this winter. It's going to be freezing people in Europe, but in America, it's going to, in Canada, in America and Canada, it's going to be more food shortage. So it's going to be heat, energy shortage in Europe this winter, and food shortage in America and Canada. But you know what? All of that, again, where do you have to keep your vibration? We know we are creating what we experience. Each one of us is creating what we experience individually and collectively. There are an infinite number of timelines. And we create the timeline that we experience from our frequency match. Just like I said, I've been on cloud 9 since March 2020. Up here, because I know that humanity's great awakening is at hand. We are living at the greatest time in human history, and we chose as spirit. We want to get down. We want to get in the game. We want to get down there, especially now. All of us was born for a time just as this. And all we have to do, because I love David Icke. I love all those guys. I love David Icke, Mike Adams, Alex Jones, and what's that other guy? Stu Peters. The only thing I have to say to all 4 of them, please give your truth with light, with love and light energy. Let people know the light has already won this. Darkness can never overcome the light. Just take a tiny bit of light to shine through the darkness. And what's going to happen? It's the light is going, just a tiny bit of light is going to transform all that darkness back to light from which it came, because there's nothing outside of God. So even the dark is God. But all you have to do, the dark is just absence of the light. And all the light has to do a little tiny bit of it, because even this is science. High frequency is so much more powerful than low frequency. So it just takes a tiny bit of light to shine through the darkness. And what it's going to do is transform that darkness back to light. So I love these guys that are sharing truth, but I just said this on the show of mine just 2 days ago. They're sharing it with doom and gloom, and they're no better, even if they're sharing truth. If they're sharing it with doom and gloom and putting people in a state of fear, they're no better than the lying CNN, because it's the fear. They don't care what makes you get afraid. They don't care if the truth makes you get afraid or lies make you get afraid. They want you in a state of fear. So what we have to know, we have to wake up to who we truly are. We have to wake up and see what truly is happening in this world and take back our sovereignty and said, no, I'm a single woman. I'm 5'1.5". Okay, I live in I've never worn a mask. I'm not going anywhere near these shots that are bioweapons. Okay, if I can do it, anybody can do it. Okay, I never once for 1 second gave away my sovereignty. And we can all do that individually and collectively.
I so agree with that. I'm in the same boat as you are. I haven't given away my sovereignty. I'm pure blood. Without fear, I don't vibrate in that realm. It's not for me. I can see it coming, and when I see it coming, I don't get triggered, and I deal with it right there on the spot in the moment, and I don't allow it to overtake me. Right, because I understand what I am. Right, once I find once you understand what you are, right, there is absolutely nothing that you can't do. There's nothing that can put the fear into you. There's absolutely nothing. Yeah, I don't roll on that aspect whatsoever. But what I do roll on is curiosity and exploration, and to understand things that I don't understand but want to understand, and share that with people, because to keep knowledge to the self is selfish, right? Because once you do get knowledge, share that.
Yes, exactly, Omar. But understand, truth comes from within your heart and soul. It truly does. And yes, as soon as I had my awakening, I want to share it with the world. As soon, and that's a key aspect of awakening. You always want to share it with everyone you come in contact with.
Yep. Well, we all 3 have shows. There's a reason. Well, and the idea is that we all are divine beings, but we may need help being empowered. Yes. And a lot of times, Caroline, when I've talked to you, that there's been times where you've corrected my language, because sometimes my language wasn't high vibe. And I really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. You're an expert at that.
Oh, thank you. Well, I just know it's in every now moment, because in truly all there is the now. There is no past, there is no future. Even what's his name, the scientist that recently passed, Stephen Hawking. Somehow scientifically he proved that the now moment creates the past and the future. All there's no time in reality. There's even Einstein said time is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. So what we have to remember, when we're in the now moment, we're grounded in the now moment, and we're loving and living every now moment in a state of love, it's affecting what we call the past and the future, and it's affecting every life we're living in this simultaneous moment. I don't say reincarnation, because all there is the now. It's the simultaneous lives that we're living right here and now. And what we do in this now moment affects every life that we're living in this moment.
Yes, so correct, Omando, Caroline. I love it, because I've said it for a while now that there is no past lives, there's no future lives. It's only the present life, and what people are identifying as past lives is that they're not fully understanding the conscious experience with which they're tuning into, right? They're like a radio station that's just almost there but not there. Right. So it's that experience of that life that's happening at the very, very same time, just bleeding through into this one. And that's where you're getting deja vus and, these experiences that you think that you've had in the past, but really they're, the present and in the moment. Because what's happening, we understand it's all, time is happening, it's linear, it's a lower dimension from what I think time is. It's a very low dimension. And and it's flowing, and once we jump into this river, right, we become one with that river, and then we can experience all those aspects of whatever that we want. At the same time, I can be a mountain climber and an astronaut and a podcaster all at the same time, and that's where that infinite possibility is that where that there's those infinite timelines, and then on those infinite timelines, I'm that infinite being, and that's everything, because that's what I am. That's where, that's why perhaps I say is that you have to go internally to realization, because when you go internal, you're going into that entirety of that aspect of yourself and pool that information and bring it back from all of those lives that are happening, and then the others can do the same thing from you, because my experience here is different than the other guy's experience that decided to go left instead of right yesterday, right?
Yes. Because then everything that can happen does happen in a different frequency. So it's what you experience is what you are a core frequency match to. So that's why I always say to people, when I was talking about David Icke, who I love to death, but sometimes I have to turn him off if he's like, I'm like, okay, you're bringing me down, so I'm turning. If any information is lowering my frequency, I'll shut him off. And not saying, and I know that the information he's giving is true, but it's your vibration is more important than the information. So I say to everybody all the time, if you're listening to something, whether it be CNN lies, because that's all they say on CNN, one word of CNN is true. So whether it be CNN lies, or whether it be David Icke or Mike Adams or Alex Jones, any of these guys, which I love, but give your message with a high vibration. That's my only thing I have to say to them, because if it's bringing someone's if it's putting a person in a state of fear, you just gave the globalists what they want. You have to let people know the light. First of all, we know light has already won. So what do we have to worry about? What do we have to be afraid of or worry about? The light has won. Humanity awakening. We are in the midst of humanity awakening, and in our lifetime, we will be living heaven on earth. In our lifetime, yes, 5D Earth. It's already here. I'm already there. I've been in 5D Earth since March 2020. Okay, I'm waiting for the rest of y'all to catch up to me.
Have you noticed that sometimes you'll try to remember somebody's name or something, and it's back in 3D and you're here. And it takes a little while to retrieve it. It's like it's on a Rolodex, and I can see their face. And it's not Alzheimer's.
Yeah, no. Like I say, I'm sitting up here in 5D, and I'm looking at everything going on in 3D, and I'm sending it all love and light. And I know I still have my vehicle. I still have my vehicle. I haven't left the 3D matrix. I'm still physically here, but I'm not here. I'm here physically, but I'm not here spiritually. Spiritually, I'm in 5D and I live there. And I look down and I'm like, okay. Now here's the thing about the difference with 3D and 5D. Now 5D can see everything that's going on in 3D. 3D can't see what's going on in 5D. And then when you try as a 5D person, you try to have a conversation with the 3D person. They can't. It's like you're speaking Greek and they're speaking French or whatever. I can understand them because they're 3D, and I understand 3D, but they can't understand me because so a higher frequency can understand the lower frequency, but a lower frequency cannot understand a higher frequency.
It's because the dimension of self-awareness hasn't settled into them, right? We're born with like a certain level of awareness, and that certain level of connection, and the rest of it needs to be increased, right? So if you're and that's kind of where we are headed. Earlier when you were mentioning this whole pandemic thing, I was thinking about the Hopi prophecy, where the two roads will come to a
humanity is at a crossroad.
That's right. And that's what
we've been there for 2.5 years.
That's what I was thinking as well. I was like, wow, we're making our choices, and people are waking up to their awareness, because the more aware you become of yourself, the more connection or the higher distortion you'll have to experience that consciousness. But not everyone has that self-awareness, because a lot of people are trapped in that the 9-to-5 matrix, where it's just one focus, one tunnel vision, and 5 days a week, and the weekends you do the same thing. Wake up, you hate Mondays, and then carry on, hump week, thank God it's Friday, yeah, it's the weekend, and that's it, right? You're in that crazy, insane loop with no time to explore that self-awareness.
But understand, that's a soul's choice. Awakening is a soul's choice. There's no judgment on the people that are sleeping. There's no judgment on them, because it's a soul. It was my soul that woke me up. It was your soul. It was Kathy's soul. It's a soul choice. And some souls have not decided to wake up in this lifetime. And that's nothing to judge them about. If their soul, it's their life is eternal. They have eternity to wake up. Okay. So if their soul does not choose to wake up in this lifetime, let them be. Just send them love and light. Let them be. But both Earths will still exist. The 3D Earth will still exist, while 5D Earth is going to be heaven on Earth. And those who are awake are going to experience 5D Earth, heaven on Earth, in their lifetime. So all we have to do is keep our frequency high with love, and all that is unconditional love, not man-made. Yes.
I have to ask you something, because I go to much higher than 3D, than 5D.
Okay.
When I do my work, I go up to 12 or
higher. Yes.
So the thing is I think that what you're seeing is everything's a wave, and it can go up and down and up and down.
Yes.
So I just want everyone to know that 5 and above.
5 and above is where you want to be, because 5 is when you know who you are, and 5 is when you know oneness, meaning there is no separation between you and another being. There's no separation from you and Mother Earth, and every tree and every plant and every insect. It's all God, and it's all you. And so that's where I said, that's where the judgment goes out the window. If you run into, you encounter someone who's asleep, who listens to CNN and believes everything in CNN, and they're just, doing their 9 to 5, as Omar would say, there's no judgment on that. You realize their soul has not, you can share, you share with love and light. A lot of times it goes in one ear and out the other. Are they like, you want to hear it? Whatever their response is.
You know what, though, again, if it's frequency, we're going to segue probably to the ion stuff, to the near-death stuff. But it's all frequency, and your voice carries it.
Yes.
Your light, if you consciously work on your light body, your light changes it, and it goes through electronics. It's not just in person. It can be captured and disseminated. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about something that feels right. The other, there's something off where it's like, well, that's a maybe. That didn't. I mean, when there's so much, so many opinions out there now and so many perspectives, which I really like a lot of it because it expands you to wonder.
Yes.
But we don't. But we know at our core if it's dissonant, if the frequency is out of order, out of sync with us.
Yes. And and the big difference is heart and mind.
Exactly.
It's the feeling. You when something is right, you feel it in your heart, not think it in your mind. Now, your mind is just a tool, which is it's a good tool, but don't let your mind be in the driver's seat. Your heart needs to be in the driver's seat. And so many people ignore what is coming, the intuition. That's a word that everybody can understand because everybody gets intuition. But a lot of people will ignore that intuition and say, okay, I can't do that. Or, okay, no, here. So if it's coming from here, don't trust it. If it's coming from here, because your heart is infinite wisdom, your heart and soul, infinite. Your mind is human limited knowledge that you've learned throughout this lifetime. That's all the mind is.
That's right. So true. I've been, it sounds funny, but I've been battling something in my mind, probably myself, as well as a fly. And, no, really, since like yesterday, this fly came into my house and it's flying around and, it kept landing on me. And then I kept pushing it away. And then this voice would come into my head. Right. It's not even a voice. It's more like a thought that would come to my head that says, kill it. Right. No. And then I respond back to it. Right. It's almost like I go like this and I look at it and I'm like, no, I said, I'm not going to kill it. I'm not going to, lead that energy into my day today. So I push it away and I tell it and I said, get out of here. Right. I said, go to the other room. Just don't be around me because this thing
let the cats do it.
Yeah.
Try to open a window, go out the window.
Yeah, and it was kind of weird because when I told it, right, I said, get out of here. This thing wants you dead. And so the fly, I watched it take off. And I was like, wow, it understood me. And then, about half an hour or so later, an hour later, it came back and it was doing the same thing. And again, the same thought came into my mind, kill it. Right. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to kill it. I don't do that kind of stuff. Right. I'm so much so that when I'm walking down the street, I got my eyes on the pavement because I don't want to step on an ant. In fact, I've almost broken my ankle on a number of occasions to where, I'm going down and I notice an ant and I have to move my foot at the last second to save its life. And a few times, and I've walked around with a limp. And so we have to, be consistently aware.
Walk slower then.
Yeah.
So you don't step on the ant, but you don't hurt your ankle at the same time. So
either that or you shouldn't be wearing high heel sneakers.
Yeah, to me, that's the brain, right? The programming of the brain or, something that, resides within that brain capacity, identity, so to say, right, is that voice on the shoulder. When it says to do something, a lot of us do it. And but we shouldn't. We should listen to it and then discern from there whether we want to or not. Because what benefit would have had me if I killed that fly, right?
Right.
Absolutely nothing, but I didn't just created this bad energy within my area, and it was going to affect me today, tomorrow, the day after. Yeah, Kathy.
Well, I had a healer that I worked with. He's passed now. His name was Ted Holmberg, and he was so powerful, wizard, and he actually put the good angel and the bad angel on my shoulder, and I'd be working with people, and it was like the cartoons,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I mean, and I'm sitting there trying to work with people, and my brain's doing this, conflict in between each other, and you almost want to say, "Shut up." When I had people at a conference, I was doing a marketing plan with these people, and I begged him to turn it off. It took him. He left him on my shoulder for months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that'll cure you.
Yeah. That's
And
insane.
it was real. It wasn't my imagination. It was
Right,
real, because
right, yes.
I didn't realize how terrible I talked to myself.
Self-talk. Remember you had said before, Kathy, I reminded you about positive words. That's
Yes.
something I've been doing since 2007, is in every now moment choosing my words to be positive. Like a lot of people are saying now, we're in spiritual warfare. I don't use those words. I don't use the word war. I use that we are in a spiritual chess match and the light has already won. So to me, it's a game. It's a chess match. It's not war.
Good.
So it is to be careful of our words, and I do that in every now moment to try to always use positive thoughts, positive words, positive intention, and positive action. And it's a now moment thing, because we have to remind ourselves in every now moment who we truly are. And it is about waking up to who we truly are and then living that truth in every now moment. That's the key.
Remember, guys, we're on vacation from ourselves, because our natural self is a memory and energy, a light, but it's not, like this five senses where you can have, taste buds and feel the wind
Right.
going through you, things like that. Now, speaking of voices, Kathy, I find this to be, extremely, extremely fascinating, the Caroline's experience. So why don't we move into that, Caroline, and talk about that for a little bit, because
Sure.
that really goes with my head thinking that that there's a prime reality, and then here is a copy of that reality that we're dealing with, and this copy can be manipulated, but we have the ability, as I was saying before, that we're an antenna and that we can connect, right? But I've never heard anything like your experience to getting voice and videos. In fact, I got it primed up, so
Okay,
maybe
sure.
you can talk about it for a little bit, and then when you're ready,
I'll give an introduction to it. Basically, I launched my podcast just 6 months after my son Kyle. At just 6 months after my son Kyle's transition, and I say it was a transition. I don't use death because there is no such thing as death. And at the moment of my son's transition, I was at complete peace. A lot of people have a hard time understanding it, but it's very true. There's a whole backstory to that, which is actually in the book that a chapter I wrote in We Touched Heaven. But 6 months after my son's transition, I launched my show, Awake to Oneness Radio. One of my guests, this was in 2016, was Suzanne Giesman, and she gifted me a reading on my son's birthday. And in that reading, something, you're going to hear it, so I won't tell you, something amazing happened in that reading. And then I had another guest named Sonia Rinaldi, and a lot of amazing things happened. So I won't give a spoiler alert. You can play the video, and so people can actually hear and see.
Okay, I'm just bringing it on now. So here it goes, guys. And I'll also share the link to the video in the comments, so you guys
Please.
can go and see for yourselves and listen at your own discretion. Bring that up.
I've been so blessed with my amazing guests that have gifted me, and I know that he's still right here. That's the, yeah.
He was tall.
Yes, he was, and I'm short.
Can you guys hear that?
Yes.
How about in the audience, guys? Let us know if you can hear this.
No.
You might put a little louder if you can.
Actually recommended to have this lady, Suzanne Giesman, be one of my guests. She is what they call an evidential medium. Now, when Kyle transitioned, I knew I wanted a reading with a medium. I did not go looking for a medium. I said, I want a reading, but that medium has to come to me. And she actually did come to me because she was recommended by another guest. She was a guest on my show. And a week before Kyle's birthday, I told you, Kyle's birthday is November 24th. So sometimes his birthday is right on Thanksgiving Day. So in 2016, his birthday fell right on Thanksgiving Day. I had called Suzanne Giesman a week before that, and I just said, I'm thinking about Kyle a lot. She said, we're going to have a reading on his birthday. I said, but that's Thanksgiving Day. I didn't want to take her from her family. She said, she also, not only is she a medium, she is a channel. She channels her spirit guides by the name of Sanaya. It'd be great to Google her if you don't know about her. But her spirit guide had already told her that she was going to do a reading for her mom, that son was in spirit, before she got my call. Then when she got my call, she knew that her spirit guides had already told her she had to give me a reading on his birthday. So now this was what happened during some of that. Okay, during that, now I personally had never heard of electronic voice phenomena, never heard of it. Now, this is my very first reading with a medium, never had a reading before, never heard of electronic voice phenomena. Now she's heard of electronic voice phenomena, which is EVP, but she had never experienced. In the hundreds and hundreds, she does hundreds of readings, she had never experienced it. As soon as she invited Kyle in.
We go. And then when we really lock in the connection with him, then you ask him any questions. Oh. All right, so here we go. What's that sound all of a sudden? Do you hear it? No. You don't hear it? No. Wow, you'll hear it on the recording. It was this whooshing sound. As soon as I said, here we go, it was really distracting. You'll hear it on my audio recording. Okay, and here it comes again. You guys got to hold that down. Wow. Okay, so I don't want to be distracted by that, so cut that out. Okay. It is very distracting though. Okay, here we go. It's interesting. I don't hear it. You don't hear it. Okay. Okay. All right.
So even the thing is, she didn't realize at that time what was happening because it had never happened to her before. Kyle was actually trying to communicate through her. That was that whooshing sound. Now live, I could not hear it. Of course, you hear it loud as day in the audio. I could not hear it a thing live. And it had never happened to her before, so she didn't know what was going on at that moment. Okay, the next one. Okay, now all through, we had like a 35-minute session. It's all recorded. All through the session, you could hear the whooshing. In this particular spot, you actually could. Now, I've never told, now everybody knew Kyle had a heart condition, but I never told anyone exactly what caused his transition. I never told, so that she could not read that anywhere. That's information she had to get directly from Kyle, and you'll hear it in a second. And you also will hear, if you listen closely, you'll hear my dog Coco bark. Coco transitioned in the summer of 2007. Okay. Listen to this one.
That's how that feels. There's a little bit of trouble breathing, and the word embolism comes up. Okay. And let's go. this feels like he's trying to show me some things that may have happened at the end. I don't normally hear embolism. They may have had some problem with clots.
Yes.
You did? Okay.
Yes.
Wait till you hear this sound. I've never heard it coming through my computer. It's a vibrational thing. And he says he's doing it. He's messing with the electronics, so you can cut it out then. We got you. Unless you want to give us some electronic voice, EVP would be awesome. Never heard that. Okay.
Oh, wow.
I heard a sound there. It might have been your laugh, but it gave me the image of a very small white fluffy dog. Do you have a fluffy white dog, or you've had one?
Had one. She's crossed over.
Yeah, well, he's holding her like this. And so she's fine, Mom. And so am I.
Yes. So my little dog, Coco, came through to let me know, because I really felt bad when she transitioned, because I felt like I didn't do enough. And so Coco came through, he's holding Coco. And before she mentions the dog, you can hear Coco's bark clearly. Hear Coco's bark and embolism. That was how Kyle did transition. And I never mentioned that to anyone. She couldn't read it anywhere. That came directly from Kyle. And there's one more now. In this last one, you can actually, if you hear closely, listen closely, you can actually hear Kyle's voice. And this, Kyle, you can hear Kyle's voice saying, doing it. You have to listen real close.
And just says that he knows that you would do anything to have him back, or you would even be just to be with him. But he says you still have a lot of work to do, and you're doing it. But it also feels like, I know he's saying that you feel like you're not doing enough, and he says, chill out, Mom.
Yes. So it took me a while, actually. I could hear his voice, and she actually jumped out of her skin. She sent me this audio, and I didn't listen to it for 2 days later. I listened to it, and I heard where I could hear Kyle's voice right at that spot. And I sent it back. I said, Suzanne, listen to this one spot. And she said, holy, I won't repeat it. But it had never, it was just because you could literally hear his voice. And when you listen close enough, you hear him saying, he's saying doing it. So it's just amazing. So I have physical evidence that my son is not gone, and he's still very much with me. He's the co-host of the show. He told me that, and he's very proud of the show. Yes. Oh.
This is Sonia Rinaldi.
Yes. So what Sonia is images. She gets images from spirit. And she's gotten images of Kyle at all different ages. Younger, older. In this picture, it looks like he's like trying to tell someone else, hey, this is my time. This one, he's behind her. I was on Zoom with her, and Kyle is in the mist behind her. Yep. Kyle is still right here. Yeah, that's it. It's just, it warms my heart. Because the thing is, I know Kyle came through audio with Suzanne and with images with Sonia, not for my sake, because he knew I knew he wasn't gone, but to show others. That was so I had evidence to show others, so they would understand that their loved one's not gone. Now, something happened just a few months ago. Okay. And with Sonia. I know this young couple in the UK, and their young son at 13 years old transitioned just before the pandemic in February of 2020. And they knew that I had connections with Sonia, and they wanted me to reach out to Sonia for them. Now, not only did this just happen a few months ago, not only did their son come through, but Coco came through again with her son. My dog Coco came through with their son, because Sonia's like, who's the dog? And they're like, I don't know. But Sonia copied me on all the images. I said, that's my dog Coco. So it was Coco came through to prove to, because the dad is very skeptical, but to prove to the dad that this is really his son coming through with my dog.
Oh, wow.
Yes. It was so amazing. Yeah.
So cool.
Wow. That's all I could do was like, wow, actually I had my screen just full screen.
Yeah.
Took the studio, so I didn't have comments, nothing on, and I was sitting there watching, and like, ooh, wow, that was, made the hair on my arm stand up, and then I heard the dog, just clear as day.
And you could really hear Kyle too. You can hear
Kyle.
Kyle doing it.
Yeah, I heard that myself,
Yes.
and that was a wow. I would have to
Yes.
say wow, and
I never said the word embolism to anybody. Everybody knew Kyle had a heart issue. Kyle had open heart surgery. The surgery went well, but about a week after the surgery, he took a turn for the worse. And it was an embolism in his, from all the complications of the surgery, embolism that burst in his head. That was the thing that really helped. But I never said that to and she says, I keep getting this word. I don't get this often, embolism. And it's like, she was in communication with Kyle. Only Kyle could have told her that. Yes.
Amazing, just amazing. It's I was smiling when I was seeing that, because when I heard the dog,
Yes.
then it gave me this understanding in that the consciousness that we share,
Yes.
and the animal kingdom shares, is the same.
Yes.
Right. And they are what they are, because up until now, my idea was that, if I wanted to come back as a dog, for instance, then I can come back as a dog, which I probably can. But now I understand that there's actually an aspect of consciousness to where it is, say a dog or an elephant, full time, right? Just like we are full time, and before this, I had never really understood that. So, this really, woke up my eyes, right? So thank you for sharing that, Caroline. That was amazing. I'm going to go back and listen to it again. I had my volume just cranked, and I was like, wow, oh my God, wow.
I'll also send you the picture, that image that came through of like I said, this couple in the UK, their son came through, and Coco, my dog, is right in the picture. So I'll send you that.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Please. Yeah. That would be amazing. So cool. That was what an experience. I've never experienced that. How about you guys in the comments? Let me know what you guys think about this video. And a lot of great comments were coming through on that. And
wow, awesome.
It's just intense. Wow. That's all I can say. Wow.
I also was blessed to be in the Rinaldi film that was done by Sandra Champlain. Sandra Champlain of We Don't Die Radio. They did a film on Sonia's work, because Sonia's a researcher. She's not a scientist. She's not a medium, and she's not a psychic. She's just a researcher. And she first was getting audio, and now she gets audio and video of the other side. And she does this all from her heart. She doesn't charge any money. I met her several times at different conferences, but the name of the film is Rinaldi. And to find it, just go to We Don't Die Radio website, and you will find that film, Rinaldi, and I'm actually featured in the film.
Yeah, yes. I saw you in it. That's what I think. I called you right after and went, "You're a movie star."
Yes. Yeah, that was so cool. That was
so cool. Well, this is so important, because this whole time period, this past 2 years, people were, the first part of it, were afraid of this invisible enemy that's going to kill us. And so you had to really come to terms with, do I fear death? How do I, how do I feel about it, right?
Think about that. Very good question. Because I can honestly say, Kathy, never in my life, even as a small child, never in my life did I ever fear death. Even as a small child, I'm thinking, okay, there's got to be something better than this. So, I'm like, so if I check out of here, it's got to be better than this.
Oh, no.
I've never feared death. But you have to really ask yourself, the way people acted in this pandemic, their level of awareness of quote unquote death, which doesn't exist. So in essence, people are afraid of something that doesn't even exist. It just doesn't. It doesn't exist. What are you afraid of? You do not stop existing once you leave this body. I've had 9 new cars, different cars, not new. I've only had 1 new, but I've had 9 different cars, vehicles in this lifetime. And changing bodies, leaving your body is no different than leaving an old car. You know, it truly isn't. You know?
Cool.
Yeah, I think once people learn what they are, it really comes back down to that. Once they learn what they are, who they are, and that they were before this and they will be after this, and all death really is that, you know, just attention's
Transition.
the attention's being lifted off of you. Now the attention is elsewise, and if you choose to put the spotlight on yourself again, you can. And you know, once people come to that awareness, I don't think they'll fear death, right? It's because I myself don't. It's like, you know, I'm on vacation. Vacation has to end at some time or another, and I'm looking forward to going back home. And you know, and that's how it should be. And you know, don't live in that vibration of fear and lies and deceit and, you know, all of that, because it's just low vibratory stuff.
Well, Caroline, did you get a feeling that Kyle has more strength than a lot of other beings that are coming through? Because I mean, I knew a healer that I worked with here he was a real estate lawyer at night in Chicago, or during the day in Chicago, and then at night he was a healer. And amazing, Bill Farber. And after he passed, he was messing with the lights in the house. He was messing with it. He was doing a lot of electrical
stuff.
Fun. He was having fun. But I don't know that he had the strength that Kyle has to keep communicating with you.
Well, one of the things Suzanne said to me, Suzanne said to do what he did, to come through, to actually speak through her computer that way, took a lot of energy. Took a lot. So he definitely, and it was his birthday. And Sanaya, you know, her spirit team, her spirit that she channels, Sanaya had already, that was totally divine. Sanaya already said, she didn't give my name, but Sanaya said, you're going to give a reading on Thanksgiving Day. And then she gets the message from me and she's like, okay, it's Caroline. And then she's like, okay, we're going to do a reading on his birthday. I'm like, but that's Thanksgiving. I really did. I'm like, I don't want to take you away from your family. She's like, no, I was already told I have to do this. And then look what happens. Now she's had other EVP readings since then. She doesn't try to do EVP readings. They just happen. But mine was the first. Because when it happened, she was like, cut it out. What's going on here? You know, this is messing me up. You know?
You could hear her say, it's like, could you finish whatever you're doing so I can talk to her?
Well, she was saying, she did say, and I didn't, it went over my head because I didn't understand what EVP was at the time. She did say, unless you want to give us some EVP. She did say that, but I had no idea what EVP was. You know, and in live, I could not hear anything. I only heard it on the recording.
That's so cool because Sonia's in Brazil, right? So she's speaking Portuguese, and so EVP, just so you know, Omar, is a system where somebody records all these different sounds and puts it in a electronic.
Well, wait a second though. With my experience with Suzanne was not that.
I know.
I wasn't trying to do an EVP reading. So she didn't have the gibberish, what you're talking about. I've never had a reading with gibberish. She didn't have that.
Doesn't Sonia do that?
No. Well, Sonia does do that.
Yeah,
Sonia got images of Kyle. She doesn't have any audio of Kyle.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
Sonia only got images. So no. I have never done that EVP reading with the gibberish. I know what you're talking about. I know Sherry Pearl. She's a good friend of mine, but I've never had that done. Kyle's EVP came through organically.
Yes.
No, there was no gibber. She wasn't trying to do it. That's why she's like, cut it out. She's literally saying, cut it out so I can do this reading, you know?
This is a science that people use where they take sound and then the people on the other side can use the puzzle pieces so they don't have to work. That's why I said Kyle's got to be
Yes.
really powerful to be able to make that much contact
Yes.
without all the
Without us trying. We weren't trying. We were just trying to do a regular mediumship reading. We
Okay,
were
so
not trying to do EVP. Yeah.
one other thing I want to tell is I met Roberta Grimes, and Roberta Grimes is an author. She was a small business lawyer, and she came here to Boulder, and she's been on Gaia TV and everything. She's amazing. And she was shocked when Steph started coming through to her. But she did a presentation where she showed photos that she got from Sonia of the other side. And it's like, it looks like black and white of Switzerland. It looks like hills and little houses. Yeah, she explained that, oh yeah, you can have whatever little set you want. You don't, depending on, I guess, what level of dimension you're in.
Right. It's their, well, it's the astral plane. That's where our loved ones are. And Kyla said through a different I've had like 3 readings, one with Suzanne and 2 with Colleen Smith, who is a student of Suzanne. And Kyle said in my last reading, Kyle said, no rush, but Mom, when you get over here, I'm giving you the tour. Yes.
So, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. Some of this technology, they're, how, remember, Omar, they were saying that that Tesla had time machines and all that. Well, there's other people have figured out parts of that to be able to record multidimensionality, like what Sonia.
Sonia is working with Tesla. Tesla's on the other side, but she's working directly with Tesla.
Sure.
Yes.
Kind of like the coronavisor or the looking glass,
right?
Where we can record images and audio and then see for ourselves, right, the events that took place in the past or are going to happen in the future. I get it. But this seems to be, something a little bit different, like Caroline was saying, like very organic, that it just come through. Yes. So I wonder, Caroline, is that if this practice has been expanded on, right, now that the awareness has come to the attention that this is possible, right? It's has it become standard to like ask for that?
From what I know, as far as communicating with our loved ones in spirit, there's 2 organizations. There's the Soul Phone Foundation with Dr. Gary Schwartz, and oh my goodness, I had both of them on the show. I can't think of Mark Pittston, I want to say, but it's an organization. You guys can look it up. It's called the Soul Phone Foundation. They haven't done much since the pandemic, but they were working on, before the pandemic, they were working on actually having like conferences where people can come and really what they're trying to do is create a soul phone, where you can text your loved ones on the other side. They're literally through technology. So that's one camp. And then there's Sonia Rinaldi, which is doing her own thing, which she's been doing her own thing for over 30 years in her little laboratory in Brazil. And it's through, like I said, she's not a medium, she's not a psychic, she's not a scientist, she's a researcher, and she's been doing this for over 30 years, just trying to communicate with the other side through technology.
Wow, it's so fascinating on the progress on where we're headed to, and imagine what we're going to have in like 10 years time, right?
Have like shorter than that.
Have like real-time holographic meetings.
Yes.
Well, you'll be able to realize that you are in your own hologram.
That's right.
And then you can co-create with others. Where the Vesica Pisces
from the astral plane, yes.
Yeah, so cool. Well, Caroline, thank you so much for giving us your time and sharing.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're so welcome, and thank you for sharing. That was totally an eye-opener and mind blower as well. Definitely got to go and watch it again and again, because that was incredible. It's I appreciate you. Thank you so much, and looking forward to your presentation at the IONS conference.
You will be there, right?
I won't be there. I'll be watching, hopefully, but okay. I'm not allowed to leave my country. I'm being held hostage here because
where are you? What country?
I'm in Canada.
I thought you might have been because you kept mentioning Canada.
Yeah, okay. I'm in Canada. I'm being held hostage here because if
you got a tyranny
yeah, we got a Brandon. That's a Brando.
Yeah, that's tyranny on steroids right there.
Yeah, exactly. I can't leave the country, and and if I do leave the country, trying to get back in as being insane because of the app that they want you to have, and on that app you have to agree to become unhuman, and so I just choose not to. Virtual is good enough for me, and I'm really looking forward to your presentation as well as everyone else's, because this has just been an incredible week. And guys, this was just tip of the iceberg as to what's happening at the IONS. It's the biggest conference they're putting together. Kathy, I'll toss it over to you and tell us about it. And
okay, I will share the tab again. Here we go. So everyone, hope you can see it. This is the conference.ions.org page, and this is happening starting next week, August 31st through September 4th. And this is just these are the headliners, and the person that gave Caroline that reading is the lady on the far left. I just interviewed her yesterday for my show. It's an amazing being of light. But all of these people are, the lady on the far right, PMH Atwater, is writing her 20th book about it. She's a researcher. She's done a lot with children and NDEs. Mark Anthony is another medium. Jeffrey Mishlove has had a public radio, or it wasn't PBS, but it was a public television station for, 30 years. He has the one and only degree or master's or PhD in parapsychology from any U.S. University. Mary Neal is an MD that had a near-death experience. Jeffrey Olson, I've got his book on the shelf. I can't get to all of it.
I can tell you, Jeffrey, I know Jeffrey.
You do?
Yes, Jeffrey had several near-death experiences. He lost, in a car accident, he lost his wife and a baby son, and him and his 7-year-old son were the only survivor. But he experienced his wife during that car accident. He experienced his wife who had transitioned. She said, "You have to stay with our 7-year-old." He's had some amazing near-death experience. He's amazing.
Wow, I'm looking forward to that one, because I've always wondered to myself that if people died together, if they would be able to see one another and communicate with one another. Because I thought about that from the level of like a theater of war, where there's like so much death happening, whether like if all of them, when they're dying, that they can see each other and come to the realization of what they've done is offside. They get a 2-minute penalty for that, maybe even major.
He's had so many encounters on the other side with his wife and with his baby son that died. Because in that accident, it was the 4 of them. 2 survived and 2 died. And he lost his leg and everything. But he had experiences with his wife from the other side and his baby son.
Wow, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So and you can see there's Caroline here in the next set of presenters, and a lot of the people we've gotten to talk to this week are here in this series. And again, the theme is timeless oneness, the luminous message of near death and other spiritually transformative experiences. The event is available also online. You can, if you get the virtual ticket, you can actually watch all of the recordings that they'll have. They'll have 2 out of the 4 streams, 4 rooms. They'll have 2 of them. And the videos will be available for 180 days. So you don't have to stay glued to the computer the whole time for the next time, next while. You got plenty of time to eat dinner in front. But what I want to just say is, people, you can see the light and the love that's so available to all of us. And these are people telling their stories, sharing their experiences, and expanding us just by hearing them and experiencing it. So,
and if you guys want to see me live, I will be September 1st, Thursday, September 1st at 4:30 Mountain Time.
Okay. So, well, great. I don't have. I'm introducing you, by the way.
You are.
Yes.
You better do a good job introducing me.
I got my assignment. Oh yeah. I know. It's a tough one.
This has been just a totally wonderful series, and I learned so much, and so many notes, and we got our finale coming tomorrow with everyone coming back. We're going to do a panel discussion, and it's going to be very high energy. So I would say to charge all your phones and tablets and kind of what have you, because there might be some disturbances because of all of the energy, right? All of these people, it's going to be just incredible, and I just simply cannot wait. As you guys know, I love panel discussions, and I'm really looking forward to this one. So join us tomorrow, guys. And so before I let you go, Caroline, any final words for our listeners and our audience and family mates and friends and our projections out in the world here?
The projections of ourselves.
That's right.
Basically, because that's what I'm so grounded in oneness, and because the theme of this conference this year is timeless oneness. That's why they invited me to be a featured speaker. I was told, Caroline, oneness, you get it. And oneness is basically knowing you're not separate from anyone or anything. You are all one with each other and one with God, all there is, source, whatever name you want to give it. I have respect for all religions. So what I'm saying is, when we remember in every now moment that we're not separate from that person, even if that person is doing something that is not pretty, just send them love and light. Try to keep your vibration high and just send them love and light. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Caroline. So appreciate you. Love you very much. I'm in love.
If you're married, your wife might have a problem with that.
My wife will understand.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think we need to sign off to have the rest of this conversation.
Love you both so much. And I can't wait to see you.
Yeah.
And one day you'll get out of jail in Canada. All of Canada will get out of jail soon. Right now, you guys are in jail.
Yeah, and then you can come to Boulder, and then we'll rock it. Because much cool stuff going on here.
Yeah, I so want to get out of here. So badly want to get out of here. But time will come. Good things comes to those who have patience, and this too shall pass.
Yes.
Kathy, any final words for our audience for today until tomorrow?
Just remember how powerful you are, and that all of these people you can gain from their experience, and open up your creativity and your imagination to work with infinite intelligence at a much higher level. So I'm just so excited, and I just love all of these people so much. You can tell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like, oh, good, we get to play.
Well, thank you very much, ladies. And thank you to everyone who came out and watched us today, and those who will be watching us in the future. Please give this video a like and a share with friends and family whom you'll think will benefit from this message today. And also just share the entire playlist with the friends and family, because this is something wonderful to talk about the dinner tables and coffee tables, and who knows, maybe your own experience with friends and family might surface and you can talk about it. So until next time, guys, with our panel tomorrow and later on this evening as well, my name is Omar, coming at you guys from West Coast, British Columbia, Canada. Be safe, be well, and don't forget to say I love you to yourself when you walk into the bathroom. Begin your day with a loving perception. Give yourself gratitude, because when you give yourself gratitude and love, that works at all levels, regardless of where it is, because love has no boundaries. Love is the only thing, and everything else is just an illusion. So don't forget to say I love you, because that is very important. The world is 70% water. You are 70% water, and the air that we breathe is mist and it's water. So when you say I love you, it really, really, really fixes, resonates at a proper distortion for you, so that you can be healthy spiritually and physically. So until next time, guys, I love you, and be well, be safe.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I almost forgot.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Give up on my way.